Welcome to Storyjoy Club. I'm Michael, and today I'm joined by my very lovely guest, Anne Jory.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, today, what are we talking about?
We are talking about The Christmas Carol, or more specifically, all the film adaptations.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but many of them.
All of them that we happen to watch.
Yes.
There are like a bajillion of them, rounding up or down there, because everyone's got their take on how they're going to basically do something better than Charles Dickens.
That is a tough call. Spoiler alert, we're gonna keep on telling everybody how good the Muppets Christmas Carol is. I don't think that's a surprise for anyone, but we watched a whole bunch. We're very excited to talk about them.
Right, exactly. Anyone who knows me is like, do you have time to talk about a Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yes.
If you don't, that's fine. I have the time and I'm here for you. Let's talk about some of the ones that we kind of had as our homework, right? I guess we could go back to the book. I haven't read it in ages, but I went back and kind of looked at the Spark Notes, and I would start with thinking, like, what makes this a classic? Why is it held up for as long as it has? Because he wrote this in what,
1843. I looked it up right before we got on tape.
I knew it was like the 1840s, but I was just like thereabouts. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because this is one of those classics that was a hit when it was written, right? Like, you have a lot of classics that kind of took a long time to be appreciated, weren't appreciated in the author's lifetime. Mm-hmm. Dickens was very well known and very popular in his lifetime. People wanted to read the new thing he's going to write. And, A Christmas Carol was popular just straight out of the bag. I was reading that he was doing public readings right away of A Christmas Carol. So this is like something that was basically being dramatized in one, shape or form from the time that it was written.
I mean, just like all the themes are classic, they're going to be familiar. Like, fundamentally, it's a Christmas that folks at the time would have recognized. And even today, if the costumes have changed and maybe it's a ham rather than a turkey or a goose, it's like, fundamentally people are like, yeah, I know what this is. They can connect immediately if they've been raised in a culture where Christmas is common. And I think it has some great moral themes that just sort of carry over about, like, I don't know, be a good person.
Look, I think the Victorians particularly, and this is still true in the UK, I believe, they have this tradition of telling ghost stories at Christmas, which is not an American thing, right? Because we have, like, Halloween for that. But I know, like, the British do this traditionally. I think the Victorians did this traditionally. I mean, the BBC still does something called Ghost Stories for Christmas, where they dramatize just ghost stories that have nothing to do with Christmas. Dickens managed to make a ghost story that has everything to do with Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, the structure of the story is great. It's a novella. It's short. It's punchy. It's not like Your Great Expectations or Bleak House, which are, his really long works. This is something that's, like, easily digestible. It's entertaining. It's got, some pretty clear acts. Splits itself up really well with these, the various ghosts. And has these very good narrative beats to it. So just structurally, it's a really satisfying story.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you, as the published author, are very familiar with this. But, like, pacing is a real concern with a lot of writing. I mean, me, and I know you like, high fantasy as well, but I've definitely read a ton. And as much as I enjoy a lot of that sort of stuff, a lot of it just drags. You're like, you could have cut minimum 30% of this out and still had a rock solid story that moved. And so his story, it moves. It just takes you through. It doesn't waste time with unnecessary little bits and bobs, little side quests or anything like that. It's like, boom, we're going straight for the story. Everything is going to come back around and be relevant. And I think that's one thing I appreciate. It's like, it just hits the whole time.
Right, and it's just a very satisfying story.
It is.
Right, you have these characters people like. Everybody likes the nephew Fred. Everybody likes Bob Cratchit. Yeah. Everybody loves Tiny Tim.
Right.
And then, like, Scrooge is like that character that you love to hate. Like, he's an archetype that people even today are very familiar with. This greedy rich guy that doesn't care about anybody, and it's very relatable. It's very satisfying.
It is, and we spoke about this prior, but one of the things that I think we agreed on, he's gotten sort of focused on that sort of stuff, but almost to escape the fact that he's an unhappy man, right? And then he's ended up in a way that he didn't really want to be.
Yeah.
And he's become who he is, despite not wanting to be there. And so he's like, oh, Christmas, a humbug and all that sort of stuff.
Humbug. Humbug. Humbug.
But it's really a sort of an externalization of his own unhappiness, perhaps even self-loathing. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I obviously Dickens doesn't go into that in depth, but you get the sense, particularly when you go back. Was it the Ghost of Christmas Past? You look at his childhood. Some adaptations dig into like relationship with his father and that sort of thing. You're like, all right. I think a lot of people can probably relate to some degree or another if they've experienced something that wasn't that great in their childhood and how that's affected them and how that, if basically you don't address it. And so this actually kind of goes into a therapy session if you're not careful.
No, absolutely. I mean, there is a lot in there about how people are like a product of their environment. You know, and we're going to talk about that more because various adaptations pull out. They lean on this theme a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on what they're trying to say. But you brought up the point about like his relationship with his father, right? There are some adaptations which bring his father in as a whole character in the sequence about Christmas Past. There are others that stay away from that, and it sort of depends what they're trying to say here.
Like just the other day, we saw a live theatrical adaptation of it, and they brought him in as the father is a very full, impactful character who plays a very meaningful role, whereas in almost all the other adaptations I've seen, cursory at most. I think of a Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't even think he's
not even mentioned.
Right. Yeah. Mickey Mouse also. Not there, I think.
Not mentioned. Yeah. There is an adaptation that I'll talk about that I don't think you've seen, which does do a lot of work with the father that I saw. Which, you know, again, very interesting because it depends what you're trying to say with that adaptation.
Yeah, and I can understand why sometimes they're like, we're gonna take this out, not because it's not a worthy story in itself. But because we've got 90 minutes to tell his story, and it's not too much about his redemption arc, which is fundamentally what it is, right? Him really understanding what Christmas is about, like sort of bring it back into his heart and all that sort of stuff. Me growing up as I did, so as you know, my mother is Catholic. And so mercy, forgiveness, redemption, like all that sort of stuff is a big part of it. I mean, I think a lot of faiths have something like this, you know, one way or another. But I think that featured a lot, and it's been a big part of my life and me sort of growing up and figuring out, frankly, how to be an adult and all these different things. And so I really appreciate a story like that because it resonates with me in a very personal way. And so I was like, yeah, it's great. And many of us go through our own, right? Yeah, we're not visited by three ghosts typically, but we're visited by reality, which walks us through a lot of those lessons.
Right. And, you know, it's like, how did I end up here? You know, and if you're, I mean, like, you know, not to make light of it, but you're absolutely right. The therapy session, which is essentially what the three ghosts and Marley do, right? They put him through like the therapy session of his life. Right. How'd you end up here? How's that affecting people now? What are you going to do? Where is that going to take you if you continue this way? And what are you going to do about it? And yes, you're like, it does follow this sort of Judeo-Christian idea of redemption, atoning for your sins, you know, and you know, obviously, like, you know, I'm born in the U.S. I spent my entire life in the West. My family is culturally from India. You know, we talk about karma and all of that, but it's a slightly different viewpoint, I think, than the viewpoint that you see reflected in a lot of popular stories, including Christmas Carol, right? You know, karma is more like your bad deeds stay with you and they're going to follow you in this life and the next. Yeah. And you should do some good deeds to offset the bad deeds, but the bad deeds kind of stay there.
It's very much sort of a math equation to some degree.
It's a slightly different worldview. The net result is the same. Like, do good to make up for the bad that you did. Right. But it's the redemption arc, I think you see in the Christmas Carol, which is what makes it such an enduring story in the West, is that it follows that sort of Judeo-Christian ethos of, you know, you can do penance and you can be forgiven and you can change your destiny. I mean, I think it's very clear in the story and even clearer in some of the adaptations that he is going to hell if he doesn't fix this.
I mean, the ghost quite literally put the fear of God into him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Marley is like, these are the chains I forged in life, and your chain is all the greater.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard.
Right? And this is basically, he's saying, this could be you if you don't get it together. Yeah. Essentially. And so that obviously focuses minds.
Right. And, they're like the 1970 adaptation that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It got a whole arc about going to hell.
Yeah. So with adaptations in mind, where do I want to start? I was thinking with, we'll call it the most compact one.
Yeah.
That we looked at.
Sure.
I'm thinking the Mickey.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know if it's like a Mickey Christmas Carol. I don't actually recall
I think it's called Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Okay.
A lot of you probably would have seen it when you were kids. It's 25 minutes long. It's cute. It has Mickey Mouse in it. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. So I hadn't seen it for decades, and it's not one I grew up with, right? Mm-hmm. The one my mom liked, which was the
that's the 1970.
Albert Finney.
Yeah, the Albert Finney one.
Which I never cared for that much, but she liked it. A Muppet Christmas Carol was always my jam, and will continue to be. So anyway, I didn't really grow up with this one too much. I rewatched it earlier in the week just to kind of study up ahead of this.
So did I. Yeah.
And I was like, to its credit, like I almost have two scores. I've thought about it a little bit more since we last spoke about it. There's kind of the just on its own without a curve or anything else. But I will say, 25 minutes. I don't know if you could have told a better story.
Yeah.
In 25
That's
minutes.
Why I give it a pass. On a lot of things.
That is. I mean, I don't know if that's. I don't think you could do any less time. I mean, it just rushes through it, cuts out a bunch of stuff. And like very bare bones, does miss some stuff that I think makes it more impactful, but you get the point. Like literally that. You get the point. Be a good person. This is the point of Christmas. Yeah. Take that into your heart. Like all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I want to first sort of open it up to you in terms of what you liked about it, what you didn't love about it. You know,
so this version, I think it's made in 1983. Don't quote me on it. It's made in the 80s. Okay, 1983. I
want to say early 80s, yeah.
So it predates the Muppets version, which I think is 93, right? By like 10 years.
Yeah,
both you and I know the Muppets version very, very well. So when I watched this one, I was like, you know what? There are some concepts that I think were taken further in the Muppet version, which I thought were really interesting. And because there's no doubt that when they were doing the Muppet version, they watched all the other versions. And they probably watched this because this is probably the one that kids mostly watched at that point, right? Yeah. Because post-Muppets version, the kids watched the Muppets version. Look, I agree with you about they've got 25 minutes. What are they going to do? They got to hit the main story beats, right? This is primarily designed for kids. Yeah. They just want to tell a quick, snappy story. They lean very hard, and I think most Mickey cartoons do this, on the archetypes of what these characters represent, right? Mickey's always sort of the harmless good guy, so obviously he's going to be Bob Cratchit. You Scrooge McDuck. It's already in the name.
Right, yeah. Like, he's playing the character he's based off of.
Right.
It's like
based on this greedy sort of moneylender guy.
Feels like some sort of Back to the Future, like, time warp circle. You're like...
So when kids get on there, they're like, oh, I know exactly. He's greedy, so that saves them a lot of time narratively. You have Pete, who plays the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. He's very devilish. He's kind of always playing the villain. And so I think it fits. They did a good job of fitting all the characters in to the various roles that they play.
Yeah.
I think just narratively, I mentioned a moment ago, I think there are certain concepts that were taken much further in the Muppet version. They do a really nice job, for example, showing the interior of Scrooge's home, which is, it's got like cobwebs, it's empty, it looks in disrepair, it's cold, and that's exactly how they portray Scrooge's home in the Muppet version, because this is not someone who's even enjoying the money.
No.
He's hoarding money just to hoard it. He has a miserable life. Like, he's cold. He lights like one candle and he's in this huge house that's just empty. And I thought just the design of how they animated that probably inspired how they did in the Muppets. There are various sort of other things that I was like, you know what? This is similar to what they did in the Muppets. Overall, look, I think it's a pretty solid adaptation for what they were working with. I definitely watched it as a kid. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's got all the cartoon characters that you love. I don't have a lot of complaints other than that it's very short, so it cuts out a lot from this actual story.
Yeah, whereas I think the word I gave you was threadbare.
Yes.
I didn't hate it. And I was just like, again, how much it's about as much as you could do in 25 minutes.
Right.
And I can kind of get it. I don't know how they introduced this. Like, was this kind of like a made-for-TV, like Christmas special or whatever? The 25 minutes makes me think it's 30 minutes for 5 minutes for commercials.
Yeah.
Like, this is my thought. Maybe someone in the comments can help us out that sort of know the history of this one. Look, it delivers the story, but it's just like the core. There is nothing else. Yeah, Scrooge McDuck, I mean, obviously, I already talked about this before, like, great casting choice.
Yes. Couldn't think of anybody else.
Right? I mean, like, in the name, it really works out. I mean, Mickey Mouse, right? I do feel like Disney was like, yeah, we're going to tell this story, but also we're going to make sure we're staying true to the Disney brand.
Yes.
Which I'm just like, oh, man, even when I'm watching your thing, really, I can tell that you care a lot about your branding. I was like, I get, but also this is kind of a little off-putting.
Yeah.
The big thing that I mentioned before, and I think it was a huge miscast, was for Goofy. Mm-hmm. I think that having him as Robert Marley was not the move. I don't know who it should have been.
Yeah, I don't know who it would be, you know?
Right.
Who else we got? Pluto? That's a joke, guys. I'm not seriously saying Pluto should play Robert Marley. I don't want to get canceled.
Right. But like that's definitely kind of an issue.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was just like, he's Goofy. It's in the name.
Yeah.
And you're having him play someone who was supposed to be despicable in life. I'm just like, this is Goofy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Like I was like, okay, he's serving this role, and even in his playing, he's playing Goofy, not Robert Marley.
No.
Like I know, like people be like, man, why are you upset like about this Disney movie? It's like, and to be fair, I'm not, but I'm thinking.
But you are.
I'm just like, I think you could have done better on this one. Like again, 25 minutes. I'm like, you did probably about the best you could.
Right.
They really hit you over the head with everything. There's very little subtlety.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of tell not show, but I'm just like, yeah, you don't have enough time to show. You got 25 minutes, and that's including your intro and exit credits.
Yeah.
Like it is a brief moment of a story. But yeah, on that one, I'm just like, there's got to be someone else that was at least a little more neutral in there that could have done. Though, you know, as you said, I'm actually not that familiar with a lot of Disney characters. Yeah. The one that played the Christmas, was it the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come? Yes. What's the name of that one?
That's Pete. Who always plays the bad guy.
Which I'm just, and that worked out, right? I'm sure they would have taken out the cigar in like a 2025 version, you know? Yeah. But in the 80s, a wild time, this was allowed. Yeah. But that worked, right? You're like, oh yeah, this is menacing, this is evil, whatever it's gonna be, right? It's scary. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to that one. It's like, it does the job. Like, you get the story, it moves, it happens, and it's over, and it's very quick. Yes. I mean, you can, you know, in some ways, it was kind of great when, you know, studios only had so much time to tell a story, right? Because you can imagine if they were to do it today, there'd be so much bloat. They would turn it into a 2-part, you know, movie. Maybe 3 parts even, you know? And so, you know, because I watched a bunch of those Disney movies in that era. You know, there's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is also done in 25 minutes. There's Mickey's Prince and the Pauper adaptation. Oh man, it's done probably 25 minutes. Like this was an era of dramatizing these classic stories in a very short format for kids, which is nice. I don't think that we see classic stories dramatized this way for kids anymore. It's a really nice introduction. I mean, there's you know, probably I think Mickey's Three Musketeers too. You know, I wish that we still had classics dramatized this way for kids still, because it's a good gateway into getting them to read and be familiar with these classic stories. Yeah, and I think some folks, particularly parents, will probably rightly point out. Yeah. It's just like, look, this is accessible, this is approachable, it's manageable. One of them that I was watching was like 2 hours. It's like, man, even I don't want to watch that. Right. Yeah, I mean, I watched, I think it was like almost 3 hour long version the BBC did of A Christmas Carol, and it's like, this is a slog now. Yeah, actually, I'd love to hear on that one, because I haven't watched it. I know nothing about it, so you're going to be able to take us through that one. Yeah. Do you want me to talk about that now? Yeah, go for it. Okay, so, you know, moving a little bit in the timelines, but this one's a 2019, I believe. Oh, so it's more recent. Yeah, very recent. I assumed it was like 90s or 80s. No, it's 2019. Well, it's clearly recent because it takes a gritty and dark revisionist look on A Christmas Carol. It has Guy Pearce in it, who I think is a brilliant actor, and he's very good at playing a villain. You know, I remember seeing him back in the
probably 90s, early 2000s when he did A Count of Monte Cristo, and he played the bad guy there, and I think he's a really good actor.
I forgot about that.
And the cast is pretty strong. He's in there. They actually have Andy Serkis playing one. I think the Ghost of Christmas Past, one of the ghosts.
Okay.
This is a strong cast. They have Joe Alwyn, who is a little bit underrated, kind of better known for being Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend, but he's quite a good young British actor who plays Bob Cratchit. So it's a good cast, good production values, what you would expect from a BBC adaptation. But man, it's a slog.
3 hours?
Yeah, it's 3 hours. It sucks all the joy out of the story. It is absolutely gritty revisionist.
Like even at the end?
Yeah. I'm getting there.
Sorry.
I'm getting there. I know. Like, it is that, I think in the early to mid, even to late 2000s, like you really had this like idea of like we're gonna make everything very adult and very serious, and you saw it happen in a lot of superhero movies, and that was effective for a while, and then it got a bit ridiculous, right? And so you had all of these. You had like the Archie comics and Nancy Drew and all of these like childhood favorites that they now were dramatizing into a very sort of gritty, dark, kind of feel bad way.
Which shouldn't be. They're like
they
Nancy
are what
Drew
they are.
Is like
yeah,
like I don't know, like teenage, young adult sort of safe adventure.
Right, exactly.
It's not gritty. It's not very dangerous.
Yeah, let's make this like dark, right? So this adaptation absolutely comes from that tradition, from that time period when everyone was doing this, right? And so like basically they take the darkest strands of the story, pull them out, take out all the joy and all the humor and all the lightheartedness, discard that, try to make some kind of commentary on like greed and the rich and Victorian England and how bad it was for the poor, which frankly Dickens already makes that point, right? Like the book already makes that point. You have a very sick child who is going to die without medical intervention. You have families living in abject poverty. You don't actually need to stress it, but this adaptation does, right?
Okay.
I mean, you have Scrooge who goes from being a moneylender, all the way into operating sweatshops, right? He buys like they really expand this. They add a lot. I know. Like, he buys a mine, and the mine collapses because he's cutting costs, and, he's exploiting workers, and people are dying because of his enterprises, and they really sort of labor over that. There are narrative choices that they add to this story that actually put Scrooge, I think, beyond redemption.
And that reminds me, so as you probably know, I watch, was it Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells' podcast, I think it's called Intentionally Blank. And they've talked about this, like, where they take a character and they make them irredeemable.
Yes.
It's just like, that's it. Like, it's like you need to pull them back.
Yes.
They're like, they do bad, they are bad, or whatever. But, like, if they're out, I don't know, murdering people or something like this, running sweatshops and, people are dying at mines because they're cutting 2% from costs or whatever it is. I was like, I don't know. I mean, most people believe in forgiveness and second, all that sort of stuff, but they're just like, kind of an awful human being at that point, and it becomes unbelievable. Like, no, like, you're awful. It's like, you can't be like, oh, and now I'm gonna give everyone gifts and it's gonna be fine. It's like, no, you ruined lives in a very real way. As a moneylender, he kind of did the same, but he wasn't. It was because it was due to a lack of empathy, not because he was actually really trying to be mean per se. It's in the perfect sweet spot of like, bad enough where you're like, yeah, this guy kind of sucks. Yeah. But good at, like, not so bad that he can't be pulled back and kind of prove himself worthy of people's forgiveness and love and all that sort of stuff. But with this, I'm just like, I don't even want him to be redeemed. I want him to be defeated or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, they push him to a point where he's irredeemable. There is a narrative choice that I really have a lot of thoughts about why they decided to put that in. This is like heavy spoilers, by the way, so if you guys have a plan to watch this, this is the time to kind of pause this podcast. But there's essentially a Me Too storyline with Mary Cratchit. And I didn't tell you this before because I wanted to see your reaction on tape.
Yeah, this is no bueno.
Right? I am glad that they give Mary Cratchit a bigger role because she's really just Bob Cratchit's wife. I, of course, am disturbed by the fact that that bigger role includes what's basically a sexual assault by Scrooge. Where it's not played that way, but essentially she comes to him for money for Tiny Tim because he needs medical care. And he is this extremely misanthropic character in this adaptation. And kind of as an experiment wants to see how far a good person will go for money, right? Completely disregarding that she's actually doing it for love because she wants money to save her son. And so you have this very sort of disturbing storyline where he basically asks her to come over to his apartment and it gets her to strip down, and it's completely demeaning for her because he wanted to see how far she'll go, and then he gives her the money. And it's that, to me, I mean, there's the mind collapse, which is bad enough, but I'm like, you're pushing him into a realm where he can't be redeemed. And to the credit of the adaptation, they don't try to redeem him for this. They cut out the entire section at the end where Scrooge kind of gets everybody together and goes to Cratchit's house and, gets them a big, big Christmas goose and, gets gifts for everybody. They cut that whole thing out. He basically goes to Cratchit's house, apologizes, says he's shutting down shop, and gives Bob Cratchit a bunch of money and, is like, I'm going to try to do better. And it's just a very, feel bad adaptation. You don't have that catharsis and that joy at the end where you have this redemption and, you sort of, you're excited for the future. You think about, I always like to think about, what's going to happen next? Tiny Tim's going to get better, and then, he's probably going to, apprentice with Scrooge, and him and Fred will probably, run this business together one day, and it's, it's joyful, right? And this adaptation, it cuts all the joy out. It's extremely bleak. They make him irredeemable. I'm sure they're trying to make a comment on the fact that not every sin can be forgiven, but they've made him commit sins he never does in the text.
I feel like they're just trying to tell a different story, and this is probably one, I haven't seen this one, just from the way you've described it. It sounds like this is actually an attempt to do better than Charles Dickens.
Yes.
And it, from the sound of it, just absolutely fails. I'm just like, there's no redemption here.
No.
There's no, you've missed the entire point.
Yes.
And Scrooge is, from the sound of it, not a sympathetic character.
No.
Because when you read about him, you're like, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? He lacks empathy or ignores people's plights and all that sort of stuff. But he's miserable. He's not enjoying this.
Yes.
And he's done this to himself.
Yes.
Right? So yes, he's making everyone else miserable, but that's because he's also made himself so.
Yeah.
And so you're like, kind of a jerk, but also, again, kind of feel bad for him because that sucks, right? And it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
This, you're just like, this guy is awful, and I just want to see kind of bad things happen to him, whether it's justice or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you also don't get that sort of emotional relief at the end, right? This is another thing in storytelling. It's just like, there's no relief here.
There is no relief. I mean, probably the last points I'll make, because I flagged them before, is, they do go hard into how did he get this way. They introduce his father as a character. They show him as a very abusive man who went bankrupt, which, explains both why Scrooge turned out the way he did as well as his fear of poverty. So there's that. They show him at school being abused, another sort of modernist take on what was going on, and that's, again, the feel bad movie of the year, right? You feel terrible for all of it. But yes, the joyous factor. I mean, I think it's worth watching just to see the take that was done of the story.
How much wine do you recommend people prepare?
I mean, you have a drink. It's, for what it is, as something that stands alone from the text. I mean, I read a review that said this is more Shakespearean than Dickens, and I agree. Right? There is this sort of witchy element to the spirits. There's a lot of sort of tragedy that's really drawn out. I think the way that they portray Bob Cratchit is really interesting. He's a very good guy in the book, and he kind of, I think he has to accept his lot, and he kind of tries to do it with as much cheerfulness as he can. The Bob Cratchit here is much younger. He's not that much of a pushover. He talks back to Scrooge, I think, because he knows he's very good at his job, and he's coming very cheaply. There's a storyline where he has ambitions to leave Scrooge's employ. This is again, this is more Shakespearean in its scope.
Yeah.
Don't watch it as an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Watch it as something else. But it's not an enjoyable watch. You don't leave satisfied. You don't leave happy. It doesn't follow the emotional beats that Dickens' original story does, and so I wouldn't class it as a good adaptation.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like it's adapting at all. It's just taking the concept and running with it in the way the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, and this is probably for a completely different conversation episode, but the Wheel of Time fantasy series, the Amazon adaptation, I was like, and Brandon Sanderson said something similar. It's just like, basically, it's like, oh yeah, it's sort of like influenced, based on, but just they wrote their own story.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this is what happened here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the BBC has been doing this a lot with other stories. They've done a lot with a lot of, like, recent Agatha Christie adaptations. They take the title, they take some of the characters' names, they do their own thing. It might be good, but it has nothing to do with the original story. And I really don't understand why they try to take kind of well-known IP and do that. It's almost like, come up with your own thing and it'll be good.
At that point, it's just like, right, this is Christmas time. We want that arc. We want to feel good at the end of it. It's like, and this is what Christmas is all about, and this is why it's such an important and lovely holiday and all that sort of stuff. And they have not done that. So in my book, just purely based on the description, it sounds like they've kind of failed at sort of the primary objective and need of any sort of Christmas story.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that said, I've read some pretty sad, like, Hans Christian Andersen ones, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I mean, but actually, even like Little Match Girl, like, it is sweet at the end. Very sad.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a different story. It's not a Christmas Carol fundamentally. It's as far as an adaptation goes, I wouldn't really consider it an adaptation.
Right. So thinking of adaptation, things that I think are actual adaptations, and we both watched.
Yes.
It's the Albert Finney. 1970 musical, which, as I mentioned, I saw on television. Or my mom put on. Every Christmas time because she liked it. I never loved it, and I rewatched it recently, and I think you
I just watched it last night.
So tell me sort of high level what you thought, and then sort of diving into it, so the bits and pieces, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, I mean, this one left me really cold for a completely different reason than the 2019 adaptation I was just talking about. It feels very one note to me. I feel like it just going through the motions of telling the story. You know, it's nominally a musical, but the musical numbers are just not good. Scrooge is portrayed, again, in kind of a one note way. He's like, Albert Finney's got like two expressions. He's like grumpy and then he's happy. And you don't...
Usually because he's drunk.
Right. What I will give the 2019 adaptation I just talked about and some of the other adaptations we're going to talk about is like those actors do a fantastic job of Scrooge. I mean, Guy Pearce did do a fantastic job of Scrooge. We're going to talk about Muppets. Michael Caine is like the last word on that performance. Yeah. I watched a little bit of a version with Patrick Stewart. He was fantastic. You know, and Albert Finney I know is like a very famous actor, and I think it might just be a direction problem.
Right.
He's kind of just phoning it in for me.
Again, I'm not as familiar with like the big names of the era, but I know, again, Alec Guinness plays Robert Marley. He's a big name. Like there's among the Star Wars community, because obviously he played Obi-Wan. He saw it as kind of like a little bit below him. He came around eventually, but he was a serious actor doing, was it, and Lawrence of Arabia and a bunch of others. Serious actor, right? In quotes or not. And so I was like, okay, so that I took it serious. It's like, this is someone making an attempt to do a serious adaptation.
Yes.
I watched it, and to your point, the songs typically are underwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, let's get through this.
I fast forwarded through some of the songs because I just was like, let's just get through this, you know? Next ghost, please.
Right, I mean, the way Prue says that the most damning thing she can say, not worth the calories, and for a film, not worth the time to watch it.
Right. Because I was watching this last night knowing we were recording today, and I'm like, okay, all right, I want to watch another adaptation after this. Let's get through the songs.
Right, and it's about 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and 53 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it drags a little bit. Only a few sort of scenes or acts really stand out to me that I enjoy. And part of it, part of it is like the songs. None of them are like top. Just none of them are.
Yeah.
Right? They just sort of happen. And I think when I was texting you about it, it's like it sort of feels like they're like, ooh, it's been a minute since we had a song.
Right.
I think we should put one here.
Yeah, let's put a song in.
And I'm just like, all right, but like make it good next time.
Yeah.
The pain. Make it stop.
So the two that I enjoy on some level is the one where he's like, I like life, right, with the Ghost of Christmas Present. And it's like, it's fun. It's him realizing, oh, life is nice and that sort of thing. It's like, cool. It's kind of cute. Is it particularly good? No.
Yeah.
But who doesn't like the Ghost of Christmas Present? Like, that whole act, typically, except for the very end, is fun. It's showing the joy of Christmas to keep in your heart and all that sort of stuff. And so it's nice, and this is where he's starting to soften. Yeah. Really, because he's still pretty grumpy. The Ghost of Christmas Past is showing him how he got here. And the other one that I recall that I at least enjoy singing is the funeral procession. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes. That was the one song, and then it's reprised later that I thought was effective.
Yeah, right, because they bring it around, and he actually means it like in a totally different way. And so that's probably one of the better elements that they have in there. But broadly speaking, like the portrayal of Scrooge is just a grumpy old man. And I'm like, all right. I mean, you're not really likable. The whole set is cold. It makes you feel cold. Yeah. And like you need to turn up the heat. Yeah. And maybe that's the point. They're trying to make you feel what it is to live as Scrooge does. I'm like, okay, but the whole set feels like that. Everyone's kind of miserable. And again, it is a Dickens story. Yeah. So there's an element of mid-ish 19th century, London not being that great if you didn't have money. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah. But, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, to the point you were talking about, that thank you very much song, the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me song, that sequence I kind of sat up because I was like, okay, this is a good sequence, right? Yeah. Because you have Scrooge, in the sequence of the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and he doesn't realize that everybody's celebrating the fact that he died. So he just thinks people are kind of like having a good time, and he kind of gets into it. Yeah. And I think that's very effective because it is very jarring because they bring out his coffin, right? And people are just thrilled because he's dead.
I think the guy in question, I forget his name, literally dances on top of it.
Yeah, literally dances on top of it.
Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. It isn't every day. Good fortune comes me way. I never thought the future would be fun for me.
Like, it's not subtle.
Right, and it's reprised later on, and that was effective. An interesting narrative choice, and we hear reviews on this, is the sequence in hell.
I don't like that one. Yeah. I just don't enjoy it. We don't need to be here. I don't think it furthers the story. It's enough at the beginning that Robert Marley says, these are the chains I forged in life, and like something like, that was 7 years ago, yours is greater. It's like, we get the gist, right? It's very clear. Your chain is greater. You're in deeper trouble, and you are definitely going to hell if you don't get your act together. Yeah. We don't need to. You've already made the point for the purpose of the plot. Yes. This is a waste of time. I hate to say it.
I actually have a narrative issue with it. Right. I full points for creativity. Okay. I think it's kind of funny when they're like, you're now going to be the clerk to Lucifer the same way Bob Cratchit is a clerk to you, and then he just gets escorted into this freezing cold office, which is what he does to Bob Cratchit. And it's clever and it's funny. My narrative beef with it is that it makes it look like Scrooge gets redeemed because he's scared, not because he's sorry.
I mean, he is scared.
Yeah, I know. This is actually a narrative issue, not necessarily issue, but a fine line that's in the original text. Yeah. Right. Point of redemption isn't that you repent because you're scared you're gonna be in hell, right? Being a good person because it is the right thing to be a good person, right? Other adaptations, again, everything comes back to the Muppets because it's such a great adaptation. Yes. They focus on Scrooge having a change of heart. He looks at the Cratchit family and he becomes invested in their lives. He looks at Tiny Tim. He becomes invested. He looks at Fred having a party and they're making fun of him, and he feels sad about that, right? Yeah. Like all this love that he's just thrown away, all these people suffering. When you put in something like this hell sequence in the 1970 version with Albert Finney, it becomes just pure fear. It becomes self-interest all over again. And to me, that's actually a narrative mistake because you don't feel then the weight of him actually doing the work, as it will, you know, to be a better person.
Right, like genuinely realizing and believing that what he did was wrong and that he wants to live better, both for others and himself. Like, it kind of takes the choice out of it. It's like, you need to do this or else. And he's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
An additional thing I would add to that, and it's probably a smaller point to yours, is it removes the opportunity for the audience to imagine. Mm-hmm. And because I feel like the idea of hell is going to be different for different people. Mm-hmm. And just like the imagination will be more powerful, whatever we can imagine, than what they put on a mid-budget 1970s set. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I was just like, this literally looks like an office space you converted to look hellish.
Yes, there's some red lights, and that's it.
Yeah. Straight up what it is.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so you've now lessened. It's like, well, okay, hell doesn't look like a great time, but it's not that bad. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, you know?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm just like, which is not what you really want the audience to be taking away. So I think your point on narrative is probably by far the bigger one, because you've removed from him that sort of option or capability to become sort of good for its own sake and because he believes it, but just purely for self-interest.
Yeah.
Overall, I think that if they lopped off, we'll call it 20, 25 minutes, made it a tighter story, I could watch it, but I still wouldn't put it particularly highly. Like,
no.
It tells the story. It is reasonably faithful to it. I just don't think it tells it particularly well. Yeah. And I don't understand why most of the songs and frankly the singing just aren't very good.
The singing is not good, which is, surprising. Right. It's just not good.
Right. And Scrooge's songs in particular are usually terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's trying to pretend to be this crotchety old man and grumpy, and so he's singing in that way. I don't know anything about this actor other than his name on the title.
I mean, Albert Finney's, a legendary actor of his time. He played Poirot in Murder on the Orient Express.
Wow, okay.
He was, that's why
Serious
I'm so harsh
actor.
on it, because I think it's a very one-note performance from somebody who can do better. All of them.
Then I suspect it might be a writing and direction.
Yeah.
I mean, again, also there was some weird movement stuff that Alec Guinness was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, right. I mean, I think this is the problem, which fortunately we don't see that much of anymore. Mm-hmm. You used to have actors who were like, I am a serious actor, to what you were saying earlier, and this material is kind of beneath me. And it's like, this is Dickens, guys. Like, no, and basically if you're playing a role, no material is beneath you. And that just ends up in a not very good movie. Nowadays you see really fantastic actors, like Ian McKellen or Hugo Weaving, doing sci-fi and fantasy, which are genres that used to be, very looked down upon, or doing, superhero movies, and they're playing that as serious as anything else. This is why Michael Caine is so brilliant in the Muppets version, And so I think that this is also a thing of the time period. In 1970, they just didn't take it that seriously, which is a real shame.
Yeah, maybe. But definitely there were some serious missteps on how the adaptation was approached. Yeah. I was like, I could see it. I could see it potentially being, like, good. Yeah. As it is, I'm just like, I mean, look, if you're looking for a pretty loyal adaptation that kind of delivers and, that sort of thing, it's like, it's there. You're still, like, you get the emotional relief at the end. Like, it sticks to that and all that sort of thing. It delivers in a fundamental way, but it's just not going to be, by any means, the first film I pull off the shelf, which probably brings us to the one that is. A Muppet Christmas Carol, where, as probably anyone who's spoken to me for more than 30 seconds knows, I absolutely love and adore. Yeah. I know you're a huge fan.
I absolutely love that movie.
And Michael Caine plays Ebenezer Scrooge as serious as a heart attack. Yeah. Which is brilliant, because sometimes when you're playing like with Muppets or in a cartoon or something like this, and I think of very different genre, but like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yes. Right? Yes. Like, I forget the name of the actor. Yeah. But like he doesn't play it like he's in with a bunch of cartoons. No. He plays it like totally this is a serious role, a dramatic film, and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And Michael Caine's like, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And it's just like, he is playing Ebenezer Scrooge. It so happens that almost every other role, except for like...
Belle, the love interest.
Yeah.
The only other human, so of course they have to get together.
Well, there's there's Fred and
Fred, because
his
he's
wife.
his nephew. So
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I will go back momentarily to the Albert Finney adaptation. I didn't like how nephew Fred was played. It was too much.
Oh,
it was
way
over
too
the
much.
top.
Way too much. Way too much. Fred should be this sort of hardworking, good-natured guy because, in the book, and most of the adaptations cut out Scrooge's sister, including the Muppets version, which is a little bit of a shame. But there is a storyline in the original book where he has this close relationship with his sister, and Fred is his sister who's now died, her son. Mm-hmm. And so Fred is actually a more crucial character than people think he is. He is the only family. He's the only reminder of basically someone who absolutely loved Scrooge unconditionally.
And he loved his sister.
Yeah,
deeply.
and he loved his sister.
And so the fact that he has kind of been a crappy uncle is like, and the fact that he feels bad about that, right?
Yeah.
And so the actor who plays nephew Fred in the Muppet adaptation, I think gets it.
Oh, I
That's
think
a pretty
he was
good
great.
one.
I think he was
like,
great.
He is upbeat. He's like, I keep Christmas in my heart, but he's also like, yeah, Uncle, you're kind of being a dick about this, frankly, right? You're being mean, but I'm not going to let that keep me down.
Yes. I mean, I think I've seen this movie so many times, I now know the dialogue off by heart, so I see all the other little things that the actors are doing, and I think he has a subtext of like, Uncle Scrooge is going to let me down, because he always lets me down. Right. But I'm going to try anyway, because he's the only family I have, right?
Which almost does feel like a very Christian theme.
It's heartbreaking. It is actually heartbreaking. The end scene when he's in shock because Scrooge showed up is actually very moving, if you think about it. Yeah,
he's totally, I mean, obviously, like, he's probably delighted, but the way that actor, the way it's written in the adaptation and the way the actor plays it is very much this character is showing that love and joy and all these things are a choice. He's not, because in the Albert Finney adaptation, you just sort of feel like the character's like designed for that, and he's like, you can say anything, I'm still going to just say this thing.
Yes.
Whereas you see it here, and you're like, no. He's like, he hears what his uncle is saying and how mean his uncle is being. Yeah. And he's just like, hey, I'm not going to let that let me down and all that sort of stuff. I still believe in this. It's a choice because this is important to me, and I believe in the meaning of Christmas and what it represents and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, yes, we should all want to be nephew Fred.
Yeah, I mean, he's got just a scene, and he does a very good job of it. It gives you it's a very good example of show don't tell. It gives you a lot of backstory about how Scrooge interacts with the world, right? Here's somebody who every year invites him over for Christmas. Every year he says no. He does it anyway. And and when Fred there's a nice little sequence when the two people, Muppets, come over to collect for the poor.
Oh, yes.
And Fred kind of witnesses this, and as he's going out, he kind of gives them a coin, and goes, and you can kind of see how the way he interacts with the world is so different from how his uncle does, and he's aware of it.
Right. He says something, I don't remember the exact quote. It's like, Christmas may never have put I don't know, a penny in my pocket.
Yeah.
But like it has, it has done me good.
It has done me good. It will do me good. Yeah.
Christmas is a loving, honest, and charitable time. And though it's never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that Christmas has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
Yeah.
And gives what he's not a wealthy man.
No.
Could be if his uncle
right.
chipped in.
Yes.
But fine. And he gives what he can.
Yeah.
To these folks that are raising funds for the poor.
Yeah.
And again, that's very much in the spirit. It's like he has 3 scenes in the entire film. I'd say the most
3 scenes. Yeah, that's
the most powerful one. The one during the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yes. When
they're doing the game.
Yeah.
And then at the end where he's just absolutely shocked. And he's like, what happened to my Uncle Scrooge?
Yes.
What's happening
here?
And
his wife is like, this is fine. Everything's fine.
I mean, she's like delighted. She's surprised, but he's like, no, really.
Yeah, right.
So there's definitely that. All right. So, no, it's funny because it's just such a minor role, but it's actually a really powerful
it's really powerful.
In the telling of the stories. The more we break it down, you're like, he's got however many lines. He's got, 3 minutes of screen time max?
Yeah.
And yet you're like, this is like low key one of the most important characters.
Yes. He is also Scrooge's only link with the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with a loving past, because this is a sister who he loved, who loved him.
Yeah.
You know, who in the book, you know, rescues him from a very unhappy time at school, you know, and it's sort of a reminder of him when he was a very different person, when he was a child.
Well, his sister was very much neither his sister nor his father were included in this adaptation, and I totally understand why. I think they were aiming for 90 minutes, which it's like you have 2 hours, you definitely include that. But like his father was kind of much of the reason that he doesn't love Christmas and all that sort of stuff, and frankly why he's obsessed about money and all these different things. And his sister was the counterpoint to all of that. Like, this stuff is not important. Be happy, be good, treat each, you know, all that sort of stuff. And he loved his sister, adored his sister, and her death, which, if you don't know by now, I mean, you're 150 plus years. Like, you had your chance. I don't. This is a spoiler that shouldn't be spoiled at this point. But like, you know, with her death, and all of that, like, that's very tragic for him. Yeah. And he should have been like, hey, I loved my sister, and with her gone, we're the only family we have. Yes. Like, that would have been like a healthy, normal, good reaction as an uncle to step in. And obviously, you know, obviously in a much more happy way. I think about me going to be an uncle soon. I was just like, I would not behave this way. Right. It's just ridiculous. It's like, it's not how you play this role. Yeah. It's not in the script. You've written it wrong. But if they'd included it, I think it would have been more powerful. Yeah. But it's enough to know that he's family and he hasn't been great to him, right? Despite Fred wanting to still have him in his life and opening up his home, his heart, and his life. Yeah. So I think we've spoken more about that character than the character as time.
No, I know. I mean, I had one last thought, which was like I mentioned this earlier. You know, you sort of think about what's going to happen next, and it actually gives you hope, right? Because who's going to inherit this business? Fred's going to inherit this business, and he's very different from his uncle. And, you know, and his uncle will have changed by then, and you sort of see some hope for the future. Yeah. You know, which I think is sort of a really nice note. Right. And, all right, next topic on Muppets. Yeah. What else do we want to talk about? So,
let's just talk Michael Caine.
Yes. Oh, my God. What a fantastic performance.
I mean, oh, my. Yeah. It's just, like, even taking up the Muppets, I'm just like, just really nails the character. Oh, yeah. Walks that line of kind of a jerk and all that sort of stuff, but then you actually come to kind of, you see him as a sympathetic character. You like him. He goes through that arc, right, that he has in a way that feels natural. It doesn't feel stilted or like, oh, well, I changed because the script said it needed to happen. Yeah. He opens up, he shows some vulnerability to all of the ghosts, right? Obviously, you know, hard outer exterior at the start is like, humbug, and I don't need to see this, and yada yada, but he starts to see it, it's put in front of him, he's like, all right, you know, maybe there's a point here, definitely when talking about Belle and all of that. Yeah. It's just, I think he just nails it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, by the time you get to the end of the sequence, the Ghost of Christmas Past, and, you know, Belle has left him, and he has to relive that. Yeah. You know, and Michael Caine is just crying, you know? Right. And you already, like, he is just so invested in this performance. Yeah. He's playing it so seriously. He understands this character so well. You know, and you are already, he has a very good way of showing this character's arc. You know, he's already softening, you know, because you're already seeing this guy crying at the end of that first sequence. By the time you get to the second sequence of The Ghost of Christmas Present, he's starting to kind of try to joke and try to be a little bit jollier, you know, and you're seeing him soften. Yeah. And it's just, you know, it's a beautiful performance.
Well, it also feels internally consistent with the character. Yeah. Like, you don't feel like he's not Scrooge anymore. He's someone you don't recognize. You're like, no, this person was there the whole time. Yeah. But he had this, frankly, because he had unresolved things going on, and he needed a bit of good therapy. He got in about 3 hours, which, good for him. Yeah. if only it was so easy for everyone else. Yeah. Right? And that's where it's like, oh, it's the same person from start to finish who's gone through a journey to become who they should have always been. Right. And he portrays that. You feel it. He doesn't treat the Muppets like Muppets. He regards them as if they were real people and all that sort of stuff. And it's just great.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes it keeps it from being comic. Right? Because, I mean, I watched the Muppet Show, and so it's like SNL with Muppets, basically.
Yeah.
And you had your guest stars come in, and with varying degrees, some of them would play it like, you know, straight.
Yeah.
But a lot, they were still treated like Muppets and all that sort of stuff, and it was entertaining, but like it was different. You could tell, right?
Yeah.
They knew it. They knew that this was happening, and so you felt that separation and all sort of thing. You don't feel it here. Bob Cratchit is his employee.
Yeah, he's a character, and you know the sequence in the Cratchit's house in the Ghost of when you have the Ghost of Christmas Present. I mean, it's very moving. You know, you have this little frog, this Tiny Tim, and he's made out of like felt that's a little paler than the others. You know, and he's got his crutch, and like I will still watch it and cry every time. This is a
it's
puppet,
moving.
you know?
Right.
It's moving. It's really moving, and Michael Caine is there with you. He cries too, you know?
Yeah, right. He's like, basically make it stop or fix it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the ghost writer says like, this is on you, mate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have the power. It's on you to make the decisions necessary for this. Like, and this is maybe going back to like the redemption that wasn't really there with that BBC adaptation, right? Here, he's given the power to do this, right? It's like it's not taken away from him.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that final sequence is totally earned in this version. You know, you go through this emotional low of the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, where you learn that Tiny Tim has died. And it's really heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking when you see the Cratchit family, who are all Muppets, and you're like crying, right?
Right.
And it's a total emotional low, and they just track the book so well in doing that, and so the end is completely earned. You know, it's so enjoyable to watch him get up, and he's like, the spirits did it all in one night. Of course they did. You know, and then he like...
Of course they did. Of course. They could do anything.
Right, and then he like out the window, like talks to this little like homeless, like... I think he's like a rabbit or something.
I think he's a rabbit.
I think he's a rabbit. You know, who he had like, you know, thrown a wreath at earlier.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, you know, what day is it? And finds it's Christmas, and it's incredibly enjoyable. It's incredibly joyful to watch that sequence where he's just, you know, going around to everybody and giving them gifts and buying this feast, and then going to Cratchit's house, and he can't even keep a straight face, but he's kind of trying to like, you know, pull this kind of practical joke on them.
Bob Cratchit, you know, he's going very
and
serious.
Miss Piggy is like, I'm gonna raise him right off the pavement.
And so this is where I think they did a better job compared to the Mickey version. So they stayed reasonably loyal to the characters, like as Muppets outside of the film.
Yes.
But not to an extent that kind of was competing with each other.
Yes.
Miss Piggy was, yes, Mrs. Cratchit, but she was also still herself.
Yeah.
And it was funny, you know.
Yeah.
Kermit was Kermit and all that sort of stuff. But it was close enough where, like, this is a Muppet thing and they are who they are, but they really are also these characters, and there's no sense of dissonance in the mind of the audience watching this.
Yes. Yes, I mean, even the Marleys, which they turned into two characters here, which is very effective.
That was great.
It was a genius move. It was a genius move with those two
Marley
Muppets.
and Marley, right.
You know, and they have a great song. I mean, can we talk about the songs? I mean, all the songs are
and
just
your
fantastic.
expectations, I mean, to be fair, like, your expectations, I would say, are low for Muppets, but I've watched some others, like I think it was Muppet Treasure Island, which I think came out some years later.
Yeah, which I've seen, you know.
Which has Tim Curry as Long John Silver. Yeah. Also plays it pretty, serious actor.
Yeah, great Muppet caper. It's got, like, Diana Rigg, very serious, you know.
That's how you gotta do it.
Yeah.
But they had, like, a great song about cabin fever. It was totally silly, but I loved it. As exposition. The intro song.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have to tell the story, right? You need to cut down on time. But to be like, we're going to make a song that's going to tell you a ton of stuff you need to know.
Even the vegetables don't like him.
And it's going to be entertaining to listen to and watch. And I was just like, I mean, that's a tough thing to achieve.
Yeah.
and it's just really good.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why the songs, I think, in Muppets are so good and the songs in that 1970 Albert Finney version don't work is because those songs are shoehorned in to make it a musical. In the Muppets version, every song serves a purpose.
Yeah.
That intro song of Scrooge gives you so much information in such an enjoyable way. You know exactly who this guy is before. I don't even think they show his face. I mean, the reveal is at the end when he turns around for the parents, right? And they're like, it's Michael Caine. Because you just have him walking through.
Oh, yeah, you just sort of see his cane. It's
yeah,
very
and he's
dramatic.
just walking through,
it's very...
and they tell you,
Dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
Right,
It's like very,
exactly.
like the beat. It's the whole thing. It's just like, this is, like people, and this is a Jim Henson thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think he passed away just prior.
I think this is the first movie that they made after he passed away, and they were not, I mean, it's the best Muppet movie there is, but they were not sure how they're going to do this without him.
I want to say it was Brian Henson who
it
was the
Brian,
director.
yeah.
I believe that was his son. And so this is his, I guess, director debut. It was like no pressure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he nailed it.
I mean, knocked it out of the park,
Right.
Yeah.
But he retained that, I think, fundamental philosophy that Jim Henson had. And for those who haven't been to, was it the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria? They have a whole thing on the Muppets. And as I was reading about it, there's also Jim Henson, I think, Idea Man is a kind of biography about him. I think it's on Netflix. And he was just like, he never saw Muppets as like a kid's thing or something silly. It's like, it's just a medium.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a book almost, right? This is not for this is for this is for this audience. Like, this is for anyone. And I mean, he didn't do like crass things or anything. I think that was also part of his personality. But it was like, no, you do dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, again, this is the Dark Crystal, which I want to say was like 1980 or early 80s.
Yeah.
Which is like, it has its strengths and weaknesses, but that was shown as like, you can tell a serious story with Muppets and take it completely seriously.
Yes.
And I think that translates and Brian Henson in his directing and writing and all that sort of stuff for this kept to that spirit. It's like, this is just a medium through which we tell stories. It is not, we're going to tell a children's story. We're just going to tell comedy. You have comedy in there, right? Because it's easy when you've got Rizzo the Rat.
Yeah, and I mean, the story, this is what, like what the 2019 adaptation forgot. Like, Dickens is a great comedian. He's got a lot of funny parts, even in his very serious stories. And so, when you put comedy into the Muppet version, it doesn't go against the text, right? The stuff that Rizzo the Rat does, or, Gonzo says, or whoever you've got, it actually is completely in line with how the text reads.
Right, and they're great. I mean, even the small things, Rizzo eating like wax fruit, or like the thing with the light the lamp, not the rat.
Right.
Like all these small things. I'm just like, it's a bit of comic relief because there is some seriousness.
Yeah.
And I do think they assume that primarily this is going to be a family film, which is probably accurate. And so they're like, look, we're telling a serious story with serious consequences. Fundamentally, Scrooge is being told, get your act together, you're going to hell. That's not exactly light material. Yeah. Right? And so it's like, let's tell this story. And they even at the end, as the ghost of Christmas is yet to come is about to arrive on the scene, Gonzo's like, all right, we'll see you at the finale.
And that's legitimately scary. I mean, I think another great thing about this movie is it doesn't talk down to kids. There's a funny line where he's like, isn't this going to scare the kids? And he's like, don't worry, this is culture.
Yes.
Because it doesn't talk down to kids, and that's great, right? This is a classic, and the book is the same way.
Right.
It was designed to be family friendly, but it does not talk down to kids. The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is scary. They don't shy away from the fact that Tiny Tim will die absent medical intervention.
Right. And this is some stuff I don't, I was only sort of, I've only watched it once. The Mickey version shies away from some of the heavier themes. I can't remember what they were, but I was like, ooh, you cut that out. And that's kind of an important thing. Yeah. And the heavier one. And they made it a little lighter. And I think they're like, this is for young kids. We need to be, they played it safe. And I was just like, you don't need to like make it gritty like the BBC version. You can just tell the Dickens story, and it's a serious story, but like it's not something that kids can't handle. Yes, it's not gory. It's not any of this. But the themes are heavy, and it's a theme about life and all these sorts of things that they're gonna want to learn. There's a strong moral. It's kind of the whole story is immoral. Yeah, right. And so the idea that you want to shield kids from them is like, well, you're kind of missing the point of the story. This the story's for all of us,
Yes.
including adults, but it's for kids as well.
Yeah.
And it's good for them to sort of understand, sort of like why hide that stuff? It's like, oh no, it's too heavy, it's too serious. Like,
Yeah.
no, I think it's just a great job.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gripe I have with a lot of things targeted at kids these days, is that they do take out a lot of those darker themes, you know, and, you know, first of all, kids can handle this stuff, and second of all, it's really actually important for them to learn this
Right,
stuff.
and if it's a family film or something watched with family, then it's a conversation starter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, like, if you're a kid, you're like, well, what's wrong with Tiny Tim? You know, and the whole point of that character is that these are, you know, illnesses that children are dying from that are totally preventable with, you know, some standard of living. These are
Right.
illnesses of poverty. That's the point, you know?
Right. I mean, definitely, again, showing, not telling, the impact and the divide of socioeconomics, right? Like, there are those things. And Charles Dickens doesn't have to lean more. Like, he's built it into the character. It's there for anyone paying attention. Like, you will take that away. And I think that's, again, just another reason why it has such longevity as an enduring Christmas story, or just a moral tale in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Gonzo the Great is Charles Dickens.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I love it.
10 out of 10 casting.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, this is great. And he nails it.
He nails it.
And having Rizzo the Rat there, both for comedy and to help with exposition and to pull out the story.
Yes, he's a stand-in for the audience member.
Yeah, 100%. He's like, because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, what are you talking about? Why are you telling me this?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is brilliant, because it feels like natural banter,
Yeah.
like you would like an Elvis and Costello or something, right?
Yeah.
But it works so effectively to the point you don't even realize it's happening as a narrative tool.
Yeah, I mean, until literally this moment, and I've seen this movie like a million times, right? I grew up with this movie. I watch it all the time. My family watches it every Christmas. You know, I actually did not realize until this moment the genius of putting Charles Dickens in as a character.
Yeah.
Which is what they did, and it works out so well, you know. Putting in Dickens as a character gives a narrative voice, because Dickens has a very strong narrative voice, particularly in this text.
Yeah.
You know, for example, at the end, you have him say, you know, and Tiny Tim, who did not die, which is in the text. Not is underlined, right? And if you don't have a narrative voice, it's difficult. It's a little bit more difficult to tell the story. It's nicer to have Dickens as a character than sort of a narrator, like just telling the story in voiceover. That would have been a lot less effective. It would have been kind of trite. It's really a genius move to put in Gonzo and Rizzo and do that.
No, for sure. And like they serve so many roles, again, like comedic and all that sort of stuff. And Gonzo playing Charles Dickens as sort of narrator is kind of the straight man of the two of them.
Yes.
And then Rizzo with the other thing. I mean, even when he falls in that flaming hot goose. Like all these things.
Yeah.
And it also reminds you, this is a real story. They're really in it. We're all here.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something happening apart from you. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. The ghosts are not as memorable in some respects.
Yeah, actually, I want to talk about The Ghost of Christmas Past.
That's the one I don't...
It's not a Muppet.
No.
It's created for this story. And I bring it up because this is the only adaptation I've seen where I think they really nail it with that ghost. So in the book, this is described as this figure that you can't... It's very creepy. You can't tell if it's a really old person or a child, right? Which is actually very chilling if you really think about that. And most of the adaptations don't know what to do with that, so they just cast a really old person, right?
Casting adults is easier. So
right. And this is very effective. It's like a doll of some kind that they're using, not regular Muppet. It's not like made out of felt, with some kind of like early CGI lighting.
What I was reading is that they actually put this in water.
Okay.
And to get that, and that's why it kind of looks like it's in
Yeah,
water.
I mean, it's very, very effective.
And then, I think they did some other effects. I don't remember all of it, but I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I always thought the motion was interesting.
Yes.
Like you were in water, and then I was like, they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
They took like this, I don't know if it's like paper or something, they just, and then put it in there.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really love how they did that ghost. It is a little creepy, and I like that. Again, they're not talking to kids, you know.
No.
It is very surreal. It's actually effective that it's not a Muppet that you recognize. I kind of like that because kids don't watch it and they aren't like, oh, that's Elmo or that's Kermit or, whoever. Elmo's a Sesame Street character, but, they're all the same.
Oh, God. Can you imagine Big Bird being the ghost
right.
of Christmas
I
Past?
mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's not, and so I really liked how they did that ghost.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just looked at their repertoire, like their Muppets, and they're just like, anything we put in here is going to look silly.
Yeah.
And it's going to take the audience out.
Exactly.
From the seriousness of the moment of the story. Yeah. So better to put in something that kind of just looks like a serious thing, right? It almost looks like a porcelain doll.
Yeah. It's like a little doll. It's
right.
Yeah.
And it works. Yeah. Where I don't know what the actual name of the Muppet is for the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah.
Nails it though.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
It's like, I'm a very large absent-minded spirit.
Right.
All this different stuff. Really gets it with the joy.
Yeah.
And because they're so like that, when they have the turn where they spit back the classic line, and thus, decrease the surplus population, like all that sort of, who's going to die, you better do it.
And and he does it in this very jolly way, and it just
right,
kicks you.
And you're like, oh, this ghost is nice, but he's no joke. He's here on serious business.
Yeah. That's such a crucial moment because Scrooge kind of realizes how incredibly callous that line was.
Yeah.
Just because he just says it flippantly at the beginning, where he goes, oh, if they're gonna die, where are the prisons and poorhouses? If they're gonna die, they may as well do it and decrease the surplus population.
Well, because Tiny Tim's not an abstraction anymore.
Right. Like now he's invested, like in this family, and he is just very sympathetic to Tiny Tim, and now this is a real person, right? He's not talking about these anonymous people and who cares what happens to them.
Yeah.
And that's a great moment.
It's an important lesson in empathy, and basically making it very clear to him is like, you have lacked empathy.
Yes. And
the way you now feel for this little frog.
Yes. Right,
is the way everyone feels about their loved ones or someone they know.
Yeah.
And so when you say this sort of thing, you're referring to all these people you don't know as well as this one you do.
Right.
So maybe think about it.
Right, exactly. So I mean, again, that ghost is great. The portrayal is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a song. Does it sound the best? No, but I love it because it's about the beauty of and the warmth of Christmas and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a fun song.
Well, the ghost is just a big warm Christmas hug.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think one of the gripes I had about the portrayal of that ghost in the Albert Finney version was that he was very stern.
Yeah.
Too stern, I think, for what this ghost is supposed to be doing. This ghost is very jolly and very fun, and that's he's there to kind of remind Scrooge of the joy of Christmas today.
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of what you're missing out on.
Right. The first one basically is just like, hey, this is how you got here.
Yes.
The second one's like, this is what you're missing.
Yes.
Both for your life and just in general, you're not getting and understanding. And the last one's and if you don't figure it out, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And this is what it looks like. No one's going to remember you because you were a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? Or if, and no one's going to, frankly, be at your funeral. Though, in the adaptation we watched live, they did, which was, I think, nice. And it said less about Scrooge and more about the character of these characters, right? Because it was Fred and Cratchit who showed up. And they put a fine line under sort of the point about those characters and their goodness, despite different things. Yeah. They choose to be who they are.
Yeah. But I mean, I think just as a shorthand, it's very effective just to show he dies not mourned by anybody. Thieves steal all of this money that he has been accumulating. People are celebrating that he's dead. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, another thing that I think some adaptations get wrong is it kind of shows Scrooge horrified that he's the one who died. Right? But death comes to everybody. That's not the horror. The horror is that he dies and people are happy about it.
Right.
Or nobody, and he had not a single loved one to mourn him.
And maybe this is where the Albert Finney adaptation actually does well.
Yes.
They make a very big point of that.
Yes.
Literally people dancing in the streets because all their debts are now, I think, forgiven or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Finally, I can live. I'm under the burden of these really of usury in some sense, right? So yeah, In the Muppet adaptation, I mean, you've got basically these thieves or whatever, and they're talking about his bed sheets, and it's like, oh, it's the only warmth he ever had.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, another really good sequence. You have the flying, you have the spiders, and it's just a very good sequence there. This is where Michael Caine's performance is just so good. I think he knows in his heart who it is, right? And he's in denial, and he's like, oh no, I get it. You're like, if I don't do anything,
this has been great.
Yeah, if I don't do anything, I'm gonna be just like this guy who died, but I'm not gonna be like that, And
but surely we're talking whoever this poor chap is.
Yeah, and it is him, and he knows it, and then he can't deny it anymore by the end of that.
Yeah, and then that's the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is frankly there to be very imposing and scary in their own right.
Yeah.
But also like to deliver the difficult, bad, and necessary news is like, no, this is where you're going, and put a very thick line on that and a fine point at the end. So you can't be like, okay, I get it, thanks. No, you need to see this. You need to like intellectually, emotionally like get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your future if you don't get it together.
Yeah.
So that's really where like the fear comes in, right? Because he's, death comes to all men. But like you do get to say sort of how you go and how you're remembered and the impact what you leave behind. And what he was shown is like, you kind of left nothing.
Yeah. What's your legacy? After all of that, after hoarding all of that money, what is your legacy?
Right. You didn't have a positive impact on the world. If anything, it was quite negative.
Yeah.
If you're remembered at all, it will not be in mourning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's the very brief scene with the very gentlemanly pigs lined up.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like, I don't care or know why he died. I just know that he's dead. Yeah. And they're like, anyone going? And one of them is like, yeah, so long as lunch is provided. Right. Basically, the only motivation to go and show up at all is free food. Yeah. Because they have no interest in we'll paying their respects to a man they probably did not respect or like. Yeah. And so I think that all these small scenes, they're funny. Like the one, like I didn't deliver particularly well, but it's a funny thing. Yeah. But it's like a very serious point being made. Yeah. It's like, this is,
Yeah. I mean, this is why this adaptation is so good. I mean, one, it follows surprisingly closely to the book. I read the book many years after I'd first seen the Muppets movie. And, much of the dialogue is from the book. Yes, all the main story beats are there. Word for word. Yeah, they retained so much dialogue you wouldn't even realize is from the book. They, because this story is a work of genius. This is why it is so enduring. Yeah. And, one of the problems with some of the adaptations, like the stage adaptation we saw, the 2019 adaptation I was talking about, they do too much to try to be revisionist. Don't be revisionist. This book is perfect as it is. This plot is perfect as it is. And the Muppets version gets that.
Yeah, I think so. And I understand. People are like, look, 1 million people have told this story. We need to stand out. I'm like, just tell it in a way that you want. Just tell the story, story, in a way that you think it should be. Because everyone's going to, right, it was in writing. So we all get to think about it in a different way and express it visually in a different way. Go with that. Write your songs, if it's a musical, right, whatever it's going to be. Yes. All this different stuff. I think that's fine. Or maybe like slight tonal changes. Slight. Yeah. Not
right.
the BBC 2019
yeah, don't do that.
You've gone off the rails, you've gone to the wilderness and kept running. Yeah. That's fine. But I think that they feel this pressure. It's like, there really isn't. No. Like, there's a reason it's such a great story. Stick with it. Make it your own. Find your space in that storytelling process to make it your own, and stick to the reason that it's good and it's beloved and everyone loves watching it in the first place. Yeah.
No, I mean that's what the Muppet version does, and it does it very effectively because it gets the text and it just basically translates it onto film very, very well.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Any last thoughts on any of the adaptations or A Christmas Carol in general?
I wanted to say one other thing about the songs in the Muppets version, because this is like a surprisingly controversial thing. So there is a song in the sequence of The Ghost of Christmas Past called The Love Is Gone, which is the breakup song of Scrooge.
This is not in the. This is in the extended edition only.
Well, it's in the original edition. It was on the VHS I had back in the 90s, and it's been cut from like the DVD from every version I've seen, the online versions. Yeah. I think we've talked about this before. I know that I think cutting that song is a really big mistake because it, like all the songs, actually serves a very important purpose. It gives you a little bit of an eye view into their relationship and their breakup. And the bigger problem is that there's that song is like reprised in a different way at the end. And there's a song called "The Love We Found" that like Tiny Tim sings like at the end.
Yeah, and it doesn't make as much sense.
It doesn't make as much sense.
That's a good
and
point.
And I would really love if they would just put that song back in.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful song. I mean, I really like it.
I think they keep part of the scene, the speaking.
Yeah, but it's very truncated because the song was mostly...
Right, well, they probably... it doesn't really... It adds like a minute or something.
Yeah,
Song.
yeah.
I don't know how long
I just think
maybe
it's a shame
2.
it was cut out. Yeah.
I am on the fence on that one. Part of me thinks the scene itself, like minus the song, is sufficient. I mean, because she's like basically, hey, when are we doing this thing? And he's like, well, once everything's in order. And she's like, been waiting a while, right?
Yeah.
And then he sort of interrupts and says, this is for you, Belle. I love you. And she says, you
You
did
did
once. You're like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, right. And you know, when I'm a kid, I'm watching this and I'm like,
you know?
yeah, I know. And I'm like, why did they break up? And then you grow up and you're like, oh, I know why they broke up.
I mean, okay, right. The guy was not, I was like...
Yeah.
This is going nowhere. You're not really together. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
And
he became neglectful, and he took her for granted, and and it's. I mean, it's interesting because as a side note, this is another thing that surprised me when I read the book. In the sequence with the ghost of Christmas Present, he actually does see Belle like now as an old woman, and she's surrounded by family, and she has a happy life.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not necessary in the adaptations, but it's an interesting thing that is in the book, where it just hammers home like he has just missed out.
This could have been him. This could have been them.
Yes.
Because he chose to he lost focus on what really mattered.
Yes.
Right? Because that was kind of what she was saying. It's like, I don't really care about that. I just want to be with you.
Yes.
Right? We'll figure it out. We'll build a happy home. Right? Like all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, he made obviously a very big mistake.
Yeah.
Whether or not the song should be in there, I say why not? Like why not have it?
Yeah.
I think the scene does its job without it. So I think I'm fine. It's not my favorite song.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty on the nose. The Love Is Gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good song. It's a good song. See if you can find it on YouTube or something.
Yeah. Or different editions have it. I know.
Yeah, for some reason it's been cut from all the recent versions, but that's a bit of a shame because it leaves that sequence. I think the only sequence without a song, possibly, or it just I mean, probably the last sequence with the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come doesn't have a song either, but it shouldn't have a song.
Good point. Like the love we found, still a great song on its own.
Yeah, but it's nice because
it's gonna hit differently when you realize when it's connected to the the love is gone, love is found, right?
Yeah.
He found it in the end. He messed up and missed out on all his opportunities, to be sure.
Yeah.
And whether or not you include the scene showing her as an older woman surrounded by kids, grandkids, and whatever else, looking happy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like you could include and even embellish the story.
Yes.
Like I'd be like, yeah, sure. As long as it's done well. Yeah. But for 90 minutes, I'm like, I totally understand.
Yeah, I understand why they cut it. I don't think that's
strictly necessary. No.
Yeah.
And the song that, and maybe this is a very minor point of divergence, you feel it should be there. Yeah. I am fine either way.
Yeah.
I feel like it underlines the point, right? But if you're like, look, man, we need to make space for commercial breaks, and this is where you're gonna cut, I'm like, yeah. Because you still have the scene.
Yeah, you still got the scene, so like the story still makes sense.
Where it's very clear why she walked away.
Yeah.
Right, and that he done goofed.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those things that people will debate online. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have thoughts on the song. Put it in the comments.
Like I said, I'm on the fence. I'm cool either way, so I don't have strong feelings on it. Yeah. It's not my favorite song, like in general, but it's the only song that she gets or anything. Yeah. She's a bit. The way she's written, and this is a bit of a bit player to really just to highlight his flaws and his mistakes.
She's not really a character in the story, which is fine. I don't think that she actually needs to be for the purpose of this story.
Right.
And, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like the character's a bit truncated because they took the song out. But,
Yeah.
you know, the story still works. Yeah.
All right. So maybe the last thing I want to do is I want to give on a 10 scale
Yes.
for all the ones we spoke about.
Okay.
Now, there's going to be one that you can mention that I didn't see. So that'll be the BBC 2019 adaptation. Let's start with the Mickey Mouse one. So sort of out of 10, 10 being it was amazing. I have nothing but awesome things to say about. 1 being like I wish I could get my life back from watching that.
I mean, look, I'll 6.5 or 7. Like, I like it for what it is. You know, I like it for what it is. It's entertaining. Is it a comprehensive adaptation? No, because of time constraints.
Yeah. So this is the Mickey Mouse one. I think I'm gonna stick with what I gave it when I spoke to you before. It's a 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Like it is like serviceable. Like and it's 25 minutes, and I understand that. But they dodge some stuff, and the way they do some character work and everything else, I'm just like, yeah, you know. Now if I were to say, okay, given it 25 minutes. Yeah, maybe I'd give it a 6. I'd bump it up a little bit and be a little more forgiving. But just purely on it's like, yeah, I don't really need to see it again. Like, I don't hate it. Like, it's not awful, but I was like,
yeah,
it pushes you through the story very quickly.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, we've arrived done.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, all right. I don't get a ton of emotional stuff out of it, and maybe that's the big thing for me. I just watched. I'm like, okay, you told the story, but I'm not feeling much.
Right.
And that's the miss for me.
Yeah.
All right. So actually, let's do the Albert Finney. So where do you stand on that one?
Ooh, I'm gonna go someone really low.
Oh, really?
Like I don't know, like a 1 out of 10 or something, a 2 out of 10.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
it just.
Oh, wow.
I got so bored. I feel like the cast is just sort of sleepwalking through it. The song suck. Like just there's very little that I liked about that version.
Man. Oh, okay. 5.5.
Oh wow, wow.
I don't particularly like it.
Yeah.
I'd say it just outpips the Mickey version.
Yeah. Just
because it's longer.
Yeah.
And I feel something from it.
Yeah.
But it is too long for the story being told the way it's told.
Yeah.
It's just shy of 2 hours. As you said, the songs, aside of a couple that I'm like, oh, this is fun, right? It's like they didn't land for me. The way that Scrooge was played, I'm just like, he's just a grumpy old man. You know, a bunch of other scenes. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I didn't hate it, right? But I'm just like, and if it's on passively, that's fine. But it's not one that I'm going to seek out. All right, now we'll go to one that I haven't seen. But this is the 2019 BBC. We'll call it adaptation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 10.
All right.
Like I give it points for trying to do something innovative. There's some good like cinematography. The performances are very good. The cast is excellent. You know, but you know, for all I've talked about it at length, it doesn't retain a lot of the original dialogue either. It changes the story a lot. So just as an adaptation, it fails, and it's not an enjoyable watch.
That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Again, just the way you told it is like there's no relief for the audience.
Yeah.
You just feel bad. You don't like Scrooge. There's no redemption.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, this is not a Christmas Carol. This is just a whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you watch, you know, really dark movies, but there's some entertainment in the darkness that's portrayed here. Here, it's just like you're just watching all these bad things happen, and you're like, okay, all right, you know.
Right.
And it's 3 hours long, and it's just a slog.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fun. Were there any others that we covered? I
Oh,
can't
the
remember.
Muppets, obviously.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure because obviously we're gonna.
Yeah,
I will
I
never
think
forget
that's
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, like 20 out of 10. Like, this is a perfect film.
I mean, particularly like 90 minutes, just everything that's done. Like, just because I guess they left out some stuff that might have embellished, I'll give it a 9.5.
Oh, really?
But 9.5 is just brilliant. Like, it's an
wow,
excellent...
tough crowd over here.
I know, right? I don't know. It sounds like I was generous on the Albert Finney
Yeah,
one.
right.
You're like, no.
No.
I'm like, all right. Because I was just like, if you deliver the story, Like, I usually am going to give you at least the
Yeah.
mid-range.
Right.
The BBC, I probably would have been below, because it's like, this is not even it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, a Muppet Christmas Carol is like, I watch it every year, and I
Yeah,
still
it's
love
a perfect movie.
Like, I could, you know, I mean, I quote it, I see little things on Instagram
Yeah.
for it. I'm essentially watching bits and pieces of it
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a great film.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, you know how much I just love the Muppets.
Yes.
Like, as a concept.
Yes.
As a, we'll call it storytelling medium, because I feel like they are unto themselves a
Yeah.
way of telling a story.
Yeah.
And I love everything about it. So I give it, I lop off that 0.5 purely because I guess they could have done some things different and added some things or whatever. But like, it's a brilliant film.
It's a brilliant film, and you know, and it's interesting because I kind of didn't realize that there's like a whole generation that came up watching this movie. You know, I mean, most kids who were born in sort of the mid to late 80s and the 90s have grown up watching this movie, and I hope kids are still growing up watching this movie.
I was shocked. Growing up, I thought I was the weirdo who
So
liked
did
watching the Muppets.
I did not realize that this has got a fan following of this level.
Everyone else liked watching the Grinch, like the Jim Carrey thing, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Different conversation.
Yeah.
And I was sort of, even in my family, I think, you know, they're like, oh, it's fine, Michael. But I was like, no, this is amazing. Like, all right. I mean, you do you, mate.
Yeah. No, I mean, because my parents loved that movie, so I grew up watching that movie. We watch it every year. I go home and we watch it.
Yeah.
And I was heartened to find out, like, just seeing online the amount of following it still has and the in-jokes about it. I'm like, okay, no, there's a whole generation that came up watching this movie.
Yeah. No, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, we sort of ended where we started with our favorite Christmas Carol adaptation. I think it's amazing, and I hope anyone out there, you tell us about the ones that you love or hate, or like, you know, we don't even know about out there, because Lord knows everyone and their mother and father have probably done an adaptation at this point. They've had 160 plus years to do it.
Yeah.
So plenty of opportunity. And thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season.
Yes, happy holidays to everybody.
Bye.